Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Noodle Shop. Today we're gonna go ahead and talk about some music that we've listened to over the past couple of days and weeks, and some movies that we've seen recently. My name's Gio,
And I'm Tristan.
and here we go.
So, Gio, have you heard the new 21 Pilots album?
I actually have not.
Really?
I think I heard one song, but I can't
I
remember.
mean, they're part of pop, so you probably heard something
Yeah,
on the radio.
on the radio. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a pretty good album. It's different because most of their albums are fairly dark and like gloomy. This one's very upbeat.
I actually have heard this full album because I remember we were talking about it, and you were telling me, "Oh, this album's actually upbeat." So I was like, "Oh, let me check it out." And
Yeah.
I can't recall songs, but I was like, "Oh, wow, this is a pretty good album." And
Yeah.
I actually listened to it. It was funny because I was opening one day, and I listened to it from beginning to end. And then I think I got to the end of the album, and I was like, "Oh, that was a pretty good album." Like
Yeah.
it made me happy on the day. So yeah,
You know what the funny thing is?
wow,
So I was reading like a article from like a known music magazine.
yeah,
It's like an alternative music magazine because that's I guess what they're classified as.
yeah,
Um, and they said like based on the like streamed live video concert they did,
yeah.
the album is supposedly actually not supposed to be. Well, it is upbeat, but it's not supposed to be.
It's still supposed to be kind of dark because it fits
It
their
is. It's supposed to
yeah, it
be
fits
like
their
a.
aesthetic.
It's supposed to be like a. Because it's so upbeat, it's like propaganda
It's
to
almost
like.
like a sad clown.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. That's what it's supposed to be.
Like an
It's like
oxymoron.
a upbeat album,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be like propaganda to like bring you down to
Oh,
Dima.
that's funny. That's
It's
too
yeah.
funny.
So I found that out.
I'll
That
have
was
to re-listen
interesting.
to the album and like really, really listen
And
to the
like
words.
look at it from that point of view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because when I first heard it, like I said, it took me a while, and then I was like, oh wait, when she said it
Yeah.
was a positive album, I was like, oh wait, I did hear it.
Yeah.
But I'll have to re-listen to it in that aspect
Yeah,
because the
cuz they're
first time I
all
heard it, it was positive, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is actually a really good album.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a good
So
it's a good
no, yeah, the
album. Like
music's
if you
really
even
good.
if I didn't know that, it's a good album
It is different
regardless.
from their other stuff that I've heard. So
Yeah. It's
and I don't listen to them like religiously or anything. I know they're one of your favorite bands, so
yeah.
um I listen to a lot more harder music, but
It was a good change of
yeah,
pace, I will
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Going
Normally,
from like gloomy to upbeat. Like
yeah,
it's a good change of pace.
with the same meaning.
Yeah,
It's like
pretty much.
it's la 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 la,
Yeah,
but then it's really scary at the
yeah.
end.
It's like Pennywise,
That's funny. Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
pretty much.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Pennywise is kind of scary
I
even.
mean, looking at him, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Into the next album,
yeah, yeah.
we have the new Logic album. I don't know if you've
See,
heard it.
no, I haven't.
No.
I might have heard like one song, and the thing with Logic is every album to me, it sounds kind of the same. Like the music sounds the same on
Similar,
the
yeah.
album, and I'm just like, change it up just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
I know changing it up sometimes can mess up the whole theme of their music,
yeah.
but I mean having like different flows or anything like that, because Logic is talented as heck.
I
So
was
I
gonna
think
say, speaking of like the changing themes, like backfiring, that's pretty
that's
much
oh no,
describes like Linkin Park.
uh,
Like they changed from like
oh man.
their like rock, somewhat metal to like electronic pop kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I think there's a good medium of changing your style
Yeah.
without actually changing your style. You know what
Without
I'm saying?
doing like a complete 180. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Tech Nine. I mean, look at Eminem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
changed, but
These
not.
are artists that have been doing it for a while, and they change their style, but they have a very similar style at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't heard the new Logic album. Is it good?
Yeah. It's the third. I don't know whether you want to say volume, EP, whatever you want to call it. He has. It's called Bobby Tarantino 3.
Oh,
He
okay,
has
okay.
two other Bobby Tarantino albums, and they're like. So he has like his beginning albums, which are like his coming up, like talking about his life and
I
stuff
like the
like that.
space one.
That one is
That's my
phenomenal.
favorite
Yeah.
album from
That
beginning to end.
so that's kind of where I was leading it is like his first album's like about him on his come up kind of stuff. Second album is the space album. Um according to like Spotify, this is because I know he has other albums,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know what they are.
It's his like debut albums,
His
his
like
release, his
mainstream
main
albums,
release
yeah,
albums. Yeah, yeah.
with Def Jam as well. So he goes from
He's on Def Jam. That's a good game. Imagine if they made another Def Jam
he
game
would be
and
in it. It'd be
Logic
awesome.
was in it.
But he goes from like his come up to the space, and then he goes into Bobby Tarantino, which is like his I don't know how you want to describe it, like his trap slash like hardcore rap, like going
Okay,
into
okay,
like
yeah, yeah,
all the mainstream stuff, pretty much talking about like money and drugs and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Not
So
he
it's almost
doesn't
like
go
changes
like
his personality within the album.
kind of, yeah, like
Yeah.
he doesn't go like into like crazy like drugs and stuff,
I don't
but
know.
he
I like his storytelling.
yeah,
So that's why I like the Space album. I don't know the name of the Space album though.
incredible true story.
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
I love that one because it literally is the beginning, the end. It has like a beginning, middle, and
yeah,
end. You know, it's like a different artist, but Childish Gambino. You ever listen to the Camp album? And like from beginning to end, it's
it's
kind of like a story
yeah, which is
of him
awesome.
growing up. You know, so I think that was awesome. So whenever an artist could put a story into music,
Yeah,
I think it's just
and the music like perfectly blends
yeah, yeah. It's like you can listen to the song for listening to it as a song, or you can listen to it as a
as
story.
like the whole album. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Um.
think that's why that's my favorite album from Logic is because it's just such a good story.
Yeah, it is. And then but once he gets into like the Bobby Tarantino, that's like
That's his
it's
hardcore
like his
rap.
hype rap kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like
yeah.
it gets into like the hyping kind of aspect of it.
I
And then
mean,
he goes from there, from the first one he goes into what's it called? Into I think Everybody, which is the one that's like his political
okay,
racist
okay.
all that stuff. And then he goes back to Bobby Tarantino in
Yeah.
the second EP, which is in my opinion that's his best album.
Okay.
Lyrically, song wise, like I can listen to that album like every day. And then he goes into like the last few albums, which in my opinion aren't necessarily the best of what he can
But
do.
are they part of the same are they part of the same area of music, you know? Well, that's what he does, right? So he
Kind
like
of.
any of his Bobby Tarantino albums pretty much sound the same
They're
compared to
similar.
different name.
They're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that hype rap, but they're all like they have different aspects to them.
Okay, okay.
So like Bobby Tarantino 1 for example, it has a little bit of a story kind of.
Yeah.
Bobby Tarantino 2 is just like he that's like when he really hit his peak because that was right after Everybody, and Everybody was like his big album that like put him out there in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So like he got good money from it and he started going crazy and he got a ton of features
He
on
went
it.
crazy.
Well, kind of, yeah. He
we're
got like
we're gonna quote Tristan. He went crazy.
yeah, he
That's
got
why
like big
he retired for like 6 months, and then
no,
came
not
back.
quite, not quite. Not that one.
He
That
pulled
one's more
a
recently.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He left
Left the game for a
the
bit.
yeah, and then came back.
But like that album is like his that's his like pretty much I'm getting successful. Let's expand. So like he got
Okay.
on that album he got like, Wiz Khalifa, Two Chains, like a bunch
Oh,
of
it's a
other
bunch of
artists.
features. Yeah,
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 Big Sean, people like
yeah.
that.
That's what
And then he
happens.
goes into like back into the storytelling albums and stuff like that. And then now we hit Bobby Tarantino 3, which in my opinion I don't think it met the Bobby Tarantino aspect. There was like two or three songs that met it, which one of them was a single that you heard, the
Yeah.
vaccine one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
That
yeah,
one,
dude. Okay, so I heard the vaccine song. That's what was the new one that I
yeah.
heard, and I did not like it.
See, it meets like the Bobby Tarantino aspect of like
Yeah,
the hype music, because that's kind of what that song is, hype music. I still don't understand why he named it vaccine, but
it's because we live in the vaccine era.
I guess. But it has nothing to do with the vaccine, so I don't know. But he put that on there, and that fits the Bobby Tarantino aspect. But like a good probably 6 or 7 of the songs don't fit the aspect. Like they're
Oh,
all
okay.
like part of like just random other albums that he could have used them in. And then like the last two songs are like the best songs on the album.
I'll have to double
So
check that
yeah,
album.
it's an alright album.
So on to the next one. We're gonna go ahead and bring up NF Clouds. It's not a new one, but it's something we've both been listening to over the last couple months, I would say, since it's come out.
Yeah, it came out I think near the beginning of this year,
Yeah, I think
something
so.
like that.
The I mean, the album's awesome from beginning to end.
Well, mixtape.
Or a
It's
mixtape,
it's a,
yeah.
considered a mixtape, even though it has like 10 songs.
Yeah, no, it's an album.
Yeah, it's pretty much an album.
Well, it's funny, right? Because a mixtape could go anywhere from like 4 songs all the way to
Like
like
25 or
25
something
to
like
30
that, right?
songs. Yeah. You listen to an Eminem mixtape, that thing has 100 songs in it, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm never gonna finish this album.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that mixtape is really good, and having Hobson on it and Tech Nine. Who else does he have on it? I think
I
that's
can't.
it.
Yeah, I think that's
I
pretty
think that might
much
be
most
it.
of
And
it.
those
But
two
like
those two songs are awesome.
they are. It
Um,
shows. So it shows not only his talent, but it helps to show like his adaptability to
to
work
different
with
rap,
other
yeah,
artists,
to different artists,
because
exactly.
he doesn't, when he went on those songs, for example, he used their style. He didn't use his style.
Exactly.
That or Hobson. For the Hobson one, they use kind of mix
I
of
was gonna. I
Hobson
was
and
actually gonna
NF.
say. So, what's really cool about that song with Hobson, like it's Lost, right?
Yeah,
Lost. What's really cool about that song is Hobson actually had to adapt to uh, NF's way of writing.
yeah.
So, like any curse words that he would use in his normal songs, he didn't.
Yeah.
He basically took it all out.
Same with
So
Tech Nine, but I feel like Tech Nine doesn't use as nearly as much as
yeah,
Hobson
Tech
does.
Nine Tech Nine could be vulgar and have like cursing in it,
And then he can
and then
also
he can also
not,
have
yeah.
not have it in it. But Hobson, any song you listen to, it's very vulgar,
Yeah.
you know,
Lots
and
of words
lots of
that can't be
yeah,
repeated.
exactly. But the N word like a million times.
Yeah.
So going from what you listen to Hobson to the Lost song, it's crazy because Hobson kept his style and then
Adapted it.
adapted it to NF's music.
Yeah.
And then what was really cool about it is that NF adapted his style to
Hobson
Hobson's
style.
style,
Yeah.
which was really really cool. And it was kind of the same thing with Tech Nine. I mean, but Tech Nine is like just he's a good lyricist. Like he
He
plays with
is, and
words
he
really
raps
good.
really fast.
Oh yeah, he does.
And NF showed, like I said, he showed his talent in that form,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
NF does that as well in the same song.
The one song that stands out to me on the album though, besides those two songs, is the story.
Oh yeah.
That song is
Of like
so
the
it's like the
robbery in
robbery
the
in the
gas
gas station.
station. Yeah.
That song is insane. To the listeners listening to us talk about this, if you haven't listened to this song, is by NF. It's Story. It's an amazing song.
It is. It's literally a story.
Yeah, like and the way
And it's all rapping.
he raps the words
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, like he raps the whole song in a story. And
Also, if you haven't heard it, if you're gonna listen to it, just watch the
watch the
video.
music video. Yeah, the
Yeah,
music
the
video
music
is
video is
dope.
insane.
Like it worked so perfect. And what's crazy is not like a bumping song either. It's a very low song, and I feel like he just killed it.
Literally,
Like
yeah.
killed it. Like every
He
word
couldn't
that's
have done any
spoken.
better, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. All right, moving on next to Attila. This album actually just came out, I believe, a couple like 2 weeks ago from now when we're recording this. Um, so I listened to Attila. It's a little
I
bit of a harder harder rock.
I have not listened to Attila, so I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you anything about Attila, honestly.
it's gonna be like kind of like metalcore metal, just hard metal. Um, Talking about like previous albums, I've been listening to this band for since probably their first album, and they're very just metalcore. It's just hard, really really hard metal. And this last album, it's kind of like a mixture between some of their old stuff and some of what they were doing in their later albums. They got a little bit softer. I kind of felt like they were too much trying to hit like a Marilyn Manson style of music, which I'm not really that much of a fan of.
I haven't listened to Marilyn Manson either.
No, Marilyn
Not
Manson.
really. Is it like
Yeah.
My Chemical
People.
Romance kind of?
No, no, not
No,
at all. No,
not even close. All
no.
right, close.
It's like shock rock.
Cool.
It's shock rock. So most shock rock is gonna talk about crazy stuff, and that's kind of what the album actually, the closure. It doesn't really talk about like, to me at least. It didn't talk about a lot of the stuff that they talk about in their previous albums, because the lead singer, he raps while he's screaming, and yeah.
How does that work?
Oh, I don't know, but he does it.
He
But he'll
rap.
do,
So he scream raps.
yeah. And
That's
sometimes it's
interesting.
fast, sometimes it's slow. I'll show you some of their stuff. But yeah, sometimes it's like fast rapping, how like Tech Nine would rap,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it's like just like trap type rap, but in metal. It's weird.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what got me into them, is because
That's
they're like,
unique to them.
yeah, they're like rap metal. It was this kind of what got me into
Yeah.
it, and their first few albums, they utilized that a lot. They focused on like their rap metal, and they really pushed it. This last album, they kind of kept it a little bit, but it was more focused on, I guess, him singing, or being able to, for you to understand what he was saying. And it was okay. They have a song though. The opening song to the album is called Anxiety, and the song literally gives you anxiety. Like, I don't think it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be about like what's
What,
going
like the
on when,
music aspect of it?
yeah,
Or...
like I think it's supposed to be like what's going on with, like, when you have anxiety. But
Yeah.
the music itself, like every time I hear it, I'm like, ugh. So it's just it's a little crazy.
Yeah. That's kind of funny that you brought that up because with the whole Logic thing, because I listened to the new album, I went back and I'm listening to all the albums like
Okay.
fully through
Yeah, yeah.
to get like just to like compare like his
Yeah,
things,
because yeah, doing
like
that, it's almost like watching a
his
movie. You know,
style.
you watch
Yeah.
a movie through, like from beginning to end, and if it has a part two, you watch the second one just to get the
Yeah. So
context.
that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to all of his albums. I've listened to literally like 6 albums in the past 3 days. And he there's a song that he has that talks about anxiety. And it's like a 7-minute song.
Oh wow.
But it's like him describing what anxiety is,
Yeah.
going into how he feels anxiety, and then at the end of the song he like tells a story about how like him and his wife went to like an airport or something and he like passed out and they
Oh
were like,
wow.
"Oh, it's anxiety." And he's like, "I don't have an anxiety." And they're like, "You do have anxiety." And
And
he
that's the crazy thing, is
yeah,
you never know, like with those things. I mean, now we're kind of off topic of the music, but
yeah,
that's kind of crazy that, you can have something that you never thought you had,
yeah,
whether it be like depression or anxiety, or
yeah,
any type of mental like illness. I mean, look at NF. Half of his music is about having a mental disability.
yeah.
And it
And
kind of sucks.
he had a mental breakdown
Yeah,
like a few years ago. He says that in one of his albums. He's like, "I
yeah.
had a mental breakdown."
Look at, and so something we're gonna bring up a little later. The Bo Burnham stand up
Yeah,
comedy.
like
He
he
went
has a
through it.
mental breakdown in the middle
So
of
in the
the
middle of the show.
comedy. Yeah,
So I think it's just stuff that you never know you're gonna have until it happens. Um, I guess to our listeners, don't ever think that you are at it alone. Know that you have your friends to talk to about it or
yeah, of
anything.
course.
So, um, yeah. But going back into the music, what
Sorry,
was we're gonna? No, no, you're good.
sorry to get all sentimental.
No, but it's real. It's something
It
that
is.
you should be able to talk about. If you have it, don't be afraid to talk.
It's kind of like I kind of like how all these artists are coming out and saying this stuff,
Yeah,
especially people like like Bo Burnham, Attila,
yeah.
Logic, for
Like
example.
bringing
Like,
it up, like
yeah,
it's there.
they're
They're not
bringing it up and
yeah.
like
It's good for the people that are afraid to talk about it. They're allowing their outlet to
yeah.
raise the awareness.
It's like Logic says in that song at the end. He's like, this kind of stuff shows like I'm just like you. I'm a normal person, so I
Yeah,
have these things that happen, and that of course he perfectly aligns the song to then go into the song about suicide, which is like
yeah.
a whole nother topic that we're not going to get to right
No,
now, but it
yeah.
leads with anxiety.
All
It's
right,
like
so
crazy.
So okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna keep saying bands because the next two bands I'm gonna talk about just came out with with new albums,
I
and
don't know
is
either of them.
Jark, Jark,
Yeah.
Dark Tranquility. The album's called Moments or Moment. Awesome album from beginning to end. Honestly, like I've listened to Dark Tranquility for years, and this is something a little different. Again, they go soft, kind of like Attila did. They went a little softer. This band also kind of went a little softer on some of their stuff. They still have like their same like
Style or grit.
yeah, like that thrash grit metal type stuff going on in their songs. But at the end of the day, they have like pianos and all that stuff going on. So it sounds really, really good.
That's
Um,
awesome though.
and then the next band I'm gonna bring up is Born of Osiris, another metalcore band. The album's called Angels and or Aliens, or Angels or Aliens, or Angels or Alien, or or
Angel
um
or alien.
or Alien, or Alien or Angel, or Angel or and yes,
All of that.
all of
By the
the
way,
above.
that album, the name of it is actually
That'd be funny if that
like
was what it was.
that 30 words we just said.
That I mean, to me that album is kind of it's a Born of Osiris album. I wanted to bring it up because awareness to the metalcore scene. They did a really good job in keeping that, and a lot of bands nowadays in the metalcore scene end up getting softer or more melodic,
I was
and
gonna
I
say
feel like
they're trying. It's kind of like Linkin Park, like I brought up. Like they're trying to get back in that mainstream
yeah,
aspect, which
and
then
that's
leads them to lose
and
what
I
their
think
band
that's what it
is.
is like the mainstream music takes over their music, and then they lose who they were as a band when they
Yeah,
first started.
and then
And
they'll
I feel
probably
like
end up coming back to it later.
yeah, well I feel like this band just kept it going. They got like you listen to their first album compared to this album, and it's the same type of music.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's more evolved, honestly. Like you could hear in their playing, whether it comes to their like their synths or their guitars, their playing has gotten better, but the music is still this it's similar music. So I don't know. I could appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about Bo Burnham. I'm sure we're gonna talk about this one for a little bit.
Yeah, because we both. I don't
Yeah,
know. I assume you've seen the Netflix version of it too.
I've seen it and I've listened to the
Same.
music.
I will say it. Comparing watching it versus listening to it, like it's two completely different
It
things.
is, yes.
It's
So I feel
weird.
like watching it, um, you're more
It's
involved, right?
I was gonna say I feel like it's a little more comedic watching it because he's
Yes.
like dressing up and like
Yeah,
moving
and moving
around and
around
it's
and
doing stuff
dancing.
funny.
Yeah.
Whereas listening to it, you're actually listening to what he's saying, and
Yeah.
it's like it has its own comedic element.
Some of it it does like some of it's really dark though.
It does. It gets very dark, very quick.
I mean, he's a dark comedian. Like his comedic style is very dark to
Yeah,
begin with. You know, he talks about if you watch one of his first stand-ups, he talks about like having mental issues too.
yeah.
So yeah, he does a lot of weird stuff, but this one I feel like to me, this one really stood out because it wasn't necessarily like his old stuff. It was something new,
Yeah.
and the
And
mu-
then he was away or he was like
he was retired. Yeah,
retired with quotations around that
yeah. I
for
mean,
like a few
I mean,
years
no
they
one
said.
really retires. When you retire, you end up going somewhere else to doing
Yeah,
something.
true.
um, but no, I think that some of the music in the album shows like I guess what he was going through while we were in this closure time, you know, and then some of it just shows like that he's just a really good comedian.
And then some of it just shows what can happen when you get really bored.
Yeah, that too, yeah. No,
Because
honestly,
he has like songs that are like perfectly linear and they like tell stories and
yeah.
stuff. And then he has a song like the Jeff Bezos song, and you're
Yeah,
like, where did that even
yeah,
come from?
and he has now he doesn't only have like he has part two as well, like
Yeah.
so he has two versions of that song, which is so funny.
And it's
Um,
just like he went out on a whim and just did those songs just for like
just for the heck of it.
for comedy,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then they ended up being like big songs, which is
Well,
kind of
like,
funny.
and so what I really like, there's a song in the album called Goodbye. It's one of the last songs,
Yeah,
and to show like I guess what kind of musician he is, and also at the same time what kind of comedian he is.
Yeah.
The song has a different. It seems like it has like almost like a different sound than any of the other songs.
It has like a different tone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's softer, and then out of nowhere he starts bringing in pieces from other songs.
Yeah. And then it's like all comes together
Yeah, so I
as like
was
a
like,
final wrap up almost.
yeah, and I was like, whoa, that's insane because all the songs that he has prior to that, they're really funny, and then when he sings it in this part, they're not necessarily funny, but they're not there. It's there. The comedic part is
Yeah.
still there.
Well, it's that, and then he reverses some of the songs, doesn't he? He like changes them to be like saying the opposite thing of what he originally said in the original songs.
Oh, so yeah, that's in that goodbye song. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, because now in the goodbye song, he's talking. He's saying like, you tell me jokes now when
Yeah.
there's no one in the room, and
Yeah.
that's
Instead of
insane.
like
Instead of him saying,
what
"I'll
was
tell
it?
you jokes."
You call me and I'll tell you jokes. He says,
Yeah,
"I'll call you and you tell me jokes."
yeah, and I
Yeah, it's
thought
like
that was
backwards.
that was genius because it's
Yeah.
like he's almost telling you like, sit in my shoes
Yeah.
and see how it is to do this because it's not easy. It's not easy to be on camera. Like we're doing this now and we're on camera. And there's a lot of people in the world that do it. Look at TikTok. TikTok blown up because people want to make a little bit of money on camera. So it's not easy to do it. It's kind of why sometimes if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see us look at each other and talk because it's
Yeah.
easier to talk to each other than it would be to
Like
talk to
looking at a
nothing.
camera, yeah.
So that's kind of something that he brings up. He talks about like talking to nothing, making jokes to no one that's laughing.
You know what I also found kind of interesting about that is going back to like if you're watching it, like if you watch it and how he records it and everything, he does everything himself.
Yeah,
He has nobody helping him.
yeah.
He had to
So
learn how to record, edit, produce,
So
and
I
like
think
do
if you watch the
everything
stand up, it says something about that in the beginning. Like he learned how to do all of it, and then
all
they
pretty
sent
much
it
by
to like
himself.
they sent the music obviously to an engineer,
Yeah, just
and then they
for
sent
like the
it
little stuff.
they
Yeah.
sent it to an editor after the fact, like after it was done, and they just did everything else. But all the cuts and all the like everything that he
All
filmed
the
was all him.
lighting,
Yeah,
everything. He
that
did
was
it
all him.
himself.
Yeah. So man, hats off to that guy for
Yeah.
doing that because if you haven't seen it, it's called Inside. If you haven't listened to it, check it out
It's
because
available on Netflix and
we should be getting
plug.
paid. What are we getting? We should be getting paid for that. No, it's
Or
it's really
plug
good,
them.
honestly.
It
Like,
is, yeah. If you like comedy, especially dark comedy, he's pretty hilarious.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Um, we're gonna move on and go ahead to another album that's not I mean, it's not really an album. It's more of like a 3 song single, is what Mark says. But
three three songs from a mixtape
yeah,
to 3 songs. No,
pretty much that's what it is. It's kind of older now. It's more mainstream. It's Drake, Scary Hours Part Two.
see, I haven't
Um,
heard it, so
yeah, it's like I know as far as like Drake goes, he's a lot of things to a lot of people. So some people don't like him, a lot of people do. He's a very mainstream artist. He releases like every year you're gonna hear one of his songs at least.
I don't mind Drake.
Yeah,
I mean, I can listen to some of his music. We
he
have a
definitely like he's one of those artists that like you can tell he went from being like a rapper to being
to
more of like a
something
pop
else, yeah, like a pop,
mainstream
yeah, yeah.
artist.
Well, and I feel like that's what happens to them is they go from what they originally created to the mainstream, and the mainstream, I don't want to say sells out because that's like such a cliche word to
Yeah,
use. I feel like it's just the mainstream. You're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna make more money to do it this way. I'm just gonna
might
do it.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's the thing though is like with Drake more specifically is he's one of the very few examples where it works. Like he went from trying to be just a rapper, signing with um what's the Young Money Records, which is owned by like Lil Wayne and all
yeah,
them. He went from that
and
to
Birdman.
so he went from that to owning his own label, producing his own music, doing all that stuff,
Yeah.
and he's successful at it. But like this like little mixtape, I guess, was like his way of like teasing that he's making another album.
Yeah.
which has been leaked that it's supposed to be coming out like every month, according
Oh my
since
God. So
this
like one
came out.
song a month.
Yeah, like every month they're like, "Oh, it's gonna drop today," or
That's
"Oh, it's
funny.
gonna drop tomorrow," or something like
So
that, and it still hasn't come out. So
going back to something that you were talking about earlier, like Drake owning his own record label, you
yeah,
know. So the guy from Attila, the lead singer, his name's Franz, and he his thing is kind of the same thing. Like so he owns his own record label and he did all his own stuff.
yeah,
So I think I could see that that's why they would kind of push their music to a different style
hmm,
because now they own it and they could do whatever they want with it, you know?
yeah,
Um, one person that we don't have him on our list of music, but one person that I have to like say that,
like kudos.
yeah, like a kudos to and doesn't care like what people think is, oh man, what's his name? You see, I should have thought about this before I brought this
Yeah.
up because,
Well, while you think on that,
oh,
I was
Tom
actually
McDonald.
that is
Dude,
true,
Tom McDonald, his music is whatever he wants it to be.
and it's
And
very controversial.
very, very
Every
controversial.
song is like super
And
controversial, but like
he
it
didn't
works.
he didn't change his look or anything. He doesn't change his style for anyone.
He does everything. Him and his wife.
Him and his wife and one of his best friends.
Yeah,
They
they
record
do
all their
everything.
music videos. They record his wife records all his music videos. He does
She
all his,
edits them.
yeah, and then he also has a band with one of his best friends and his wife and him.
Yeah,
And they do like regular rap music, like his wife raps too.
yeah.
So I feel like having your own record label or being able to get to that
That point,
point
yeah,
is gonna obviously change your music if you decide to let it change your music.
yeah.
But there
Well,
are those artists that won't change their music for nothing.
that's true. That's actually now that you brought that up, I keep going back to Logic just because I keep remembering things. So he actually in this
He's
new
your
album,
favorite.
I mean, maybe. In this album, he actually states, this is on his contract with Def Jam. This album was his last album with Def Jam, and
Oh, so he's gonna be making his own stuff.
he said like this album is for the fans. It's for the people. It's not for him necessarily. Like he
Yeah.
didn't make it for
Well,
himself.
he
He
had a
made it
contract.
yeah, he made it for the
So
fans, and he said he like in one of the last songs, he's like, "This is my last album with Def Jam," and then me and Six, his producer, we're going solo,
oh,
and they're
nice.
gonna
So
start release. He has his own record label too, so maybe he'll release it through
they'll
there.
be able to do his own their own thing.
Yeah, so they did say that as well.
Yeah.
Now going back to Drake.
Back to Drake.
Again, that album, God knows when
Back
that's
to
gonna come
Drizzy.
out. Drizzy Dre. Um, the next
Yeah.
one was one that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so Tech Nine. I mean, we've talked about Tech Nine already a few times from different artists,
Yeah.
but Tech Nine, there's actually three albums that he came out with in 2020. It was like late 2020. Um, the first one's Enter Fear. The next one is More Fear, and then Fear Exodus. Dude, I'm just gonna say like Tech Nine is a genius. He's a
He's
genius in his writing.
is he a
Uh,
rap god, would you say?
yeah, I mean he would be one of the rap
He's
gods.
up top there.
I would think
He's up
he's one
there.
of. You have to think about it this way: if you're gonna call yourself a rap god, you're gonna have people wanting to be on your music, like hardcore.
Very true. Or
So
wanting
like,
you to be on their
or
music.
yeah, or vice versa. So like, look how many artists we've already said that Tech Nine has been on their music.
Yeah. And it's because they want him on their
The
music.
one I think we talked about this before. Like the one thing I've always wanted to hear, and I don't think it's ever gonna happen, is like NF with Hobson, Logic,
And
Tech
Eminem.
Nine, and Eminem. That would be
That would be the song
that
of
yeah
like the
year.
century.
That would be the song of the year.
Song of the century.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's no
So
one
like
gonna top it.
you have to think like the creative that would go into that song or track if they did it would be insane.
That would also be like the one song by itself would be the length of an album.
Pretty much,
It'd
yeah.
be like a 30-minute
Each
song.
person would get like a 15-minute verse.
Something
Eminem
like
comes
that.
in and does 2 seconds because
He
he
does-
costs so much to be put on a song.
Nah, I think they could all pull their money and get
And
Eminem
get
for like
Eminem,
more
right?
than 2 seconds, maybe
That'd be
three,
crazy.
3 seconds.
He came out with a new track called "Take Your Halo," and I think it's just goes to show like how he's really talented to take his music from what he has
His
done, like his fast rapping
is it
to slow rapping. Yeah,
to
yeah,
actually being able to understand what he's saying? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and not only that, it go like the way he changes the music and goes with the beat.
Yeah, because he
Like
goes with a way slower beat than he usually does.
yeah, and his flow is just so clean. Yeah, if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's called "Take Your Halo" by Tech Nine. We're like
Yeah,
plugging too much.
we are. These people better be paying us.
That's funny.
um,
All right, and
actually, going into from
from
that,
Tech Nine,
yeah, we're gonna take a slight left turn here and go back to somewhat like rock
back to Tech Nine.
slash alternative. That also includes Tech Nine, of course.
Yeah, I mean it's
Um,
just Tech Nine. He's gonna
yeah,
be everywhere.
he's in every song. It's going to Hollywood Undead. So they did the same thing as him, kind of. They released 2 albums last year.
Yeah.
One closer to the beginning and then one closer to the end. Um, the first album was like an actual album of Hollywood Undead. It was a very in my opinion, it was a very good album for Hollywood Undead. Like it went
See, I like Swan Songs. That's my favorite
well,
album.
yeah, that's their best album, of
Yeah, that's
course.
like classic. That's when they were like their hardcore metal rap.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was gonna go with it is that album. The by the way, the album I'm talking about is New Empire Volume One. Um, it goes kind of back to that
Okay, okay.
because like most of their albums from like Swan Songs into like the rest, they're still doing some hardcore like rap rock mixture, but it's not quite the same. It's like we've been saying, like it's a little bit more mainstream.
Okay, okay.
And then the volume 1 went back. So they're like
So
rapping.
wait,
It's
did Volume 2 come out first and then Volume 1 came out?
no.
Oh,
Volume 1 came out first.
because you're like they went back,
But they
back
like
to
the
the
music
future.
pretty much, yeah. But like their music went back to what they were,
Okay,
which was
okay.
like that heavy rap metal, not quite metal, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah. No, no. I mean, they're they're a good group.
It's a very
Um,
hype band
I
as well,
mean,
which
they've
I
they've
like.
went through their up and downs too. Like
Yeah,
losing
losing
people.
Deuce and yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
keeping that style, it's gonna be
they've other
rough.
than Deuce, of course. Deuce was, their lead singer. They kept their main
Is
core,
the
which was Johnny Three
is
Tears
the
and
dude with the
Charlie
deep
Scene.
voice? Is he still in it? No, right?
I don't know. I'm not
I
sure who
don't
you're
think he
talking about.
is. He wears like
It
the black mask.
you're probably thinking Charlie Scene,
Mm-mm.
maybe.
No,
No,
no, not Charlie Scene. It's
there's
is
Johnny
his
Three Tears,
he,
Charlie Scene, and I forget what the other dude's name is. There's like 5 of them now.
yeah.
There was originally 5 of them, but I don't remember all of their names. I just know Johnny Three Tears and Charlie
Yeah, I mean,
Steen
all
right
you have
now.
to do is replace and put a mask on someone else, bro.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. It's
Yeah,
just the purge, pretty
yeah.
much. Um,
The final thing we're gonna go ahead and talk
well, I
about
didn't get.
is
I didn't get to do volume 2.
because Volume 2 doesn't exist.
It does exist.
I thought it didn't come out yet. I thought
No, it did. Volume 2 has come out.
Back to the Future
All right.
Part
Well,
2.
part 2. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about
So
Volume 2 now.
yeah. So volume 2 is where Tech Nine comes in.
Oh, okay, okay.
So they made a song with Tech Nine at that point, which
All right.
actually I noticed when I looked that they made that same song with 2 other rappers, and I didn't know that.
Like separate though?
Yeah, they're all
Oh,
so they have 3 of the same song, but it's with 3 different rappers.
is that the dubstep sounding one that you were showing me
Yeah, the
earlier?
Idol. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
that it's a phenomenal song. Tech
Is
Nine
it
is in the
phenomenal?
best one though.
Yeah, yeah. It's because it's Tech Nine.
And then they so in the volume 2 they redid some of the songs from the original, and they added new people, like
Oh,
they
kind of,
featured
kind of
people.
like a reanimation,
Kind
like
of,
Linkin
yeah.
Park type reanimation
Very
thing.
similar, but
Oh, that sounds
they
cool.
featured people like that one song I showed you. It's Part of a Champion, which they had on the Volume 1, but they redid it with Papa Roach and Ice Nine Kills,
Okay.
which it honestly it sounds better with them anyways.
Yeah. Well, you got to think so like listen to I don't know if you ever listen to like punk rock covers or anything like that. And you listen to like a pop song and I feel like there's no emotion into there's as much emotion should be into the song, there's not. And then you
No.
listen to like a rock version of it
What's
where
that
they're
band
playing.
that does that?
Oh man, I know I know who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
because I'm having a brain fart right now, I can't even tell
I
you.
know what band. Me and you were thinking of the same band, and that band
It's like
like makes
our last night. I
it
don't know.
is. It's Our Last Night.
Is it?
That's what it is.
Is it?
Yeah,
I was just gonna Google it and check it out.
Our Last Night. Yeah, that band.
They do covers, and
They
there's so
do.
much emotion
That's
into
like
this.
almost all they do is
Yeah,
covers, and they're all like they make almost every song better somehow.
it's just the emotion. The cloud song that they did for
Yeah,
NF, dude, that sounded
they
so
made it. They
cool.
made it somehow better, and that song
Yeah,
was already
that song's already good.
fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And they made it sound good. Going to something you brought up, the Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah.
If you've never heard that band, I feel like they're another band that's really smart in what they're doing. So they start like when they first came out, they were more like kind of like a scene band,
Yeah.
and then now they're doing like it's still scene music, obviously, because that's their genre of music, like almost like screamo, but they went really smart and they started doing like horror movie themed songs. So every song that they come out with is based off of
Of
a
like
horror
horror
movie.
movies.
So they have
That's
like one for
interesting.
Jason, they have one for Freddy.
Oh, that's cool. Do they
Yeah.
like use the music from like the movies or something? Like for Jason,
There's
that like violin or
they'll use
whatever it
like
is,
yeah they'll use like little like Easter egg I guess things on their
or
songs
like
with
the
I don't know if they ever use that, but I know for
that would
like
be cool.
Freddy Krueger they use like the 1 2 and then they do
Yeah.
that, and then they just came out with a new single, and that one's based off of Chucky. Actually,
Oh,
they came
that's
out with
cool.
two new singles. So one is based off of American Psycho,
And then the other
and
one's
then the other one's
Chucky.
based off of Chucky.
That's cool.
I haven't listened to the song yet,
I'm gonna have
so
to check those out.
yeah, I think honestly, we'll probably put it up on the page. We're thinking about doing reactions, and we'll probably do a reaction to that.
To one of the videos.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think that would be cool to try something different, and that would be on
Yeah.
our YouTube
We
page
could do
actually.
it. We're gonna do it on YouTube though.
Yeah, we'll do it on YouTube. Yeah, so that way it's easier for everyone to watch.
Gotcha.
But we'll do a reaction to that. So that's Ice Nine Kills.
We got a
What was the
little
name of the
list
song?
of stuff.
Assault and Battery, I think.
Assault batteries.
Yeah, okay, Assault Batteries. Okay.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
we're
we'll
we're
check
gonna
that
do
one
a
out.
few of those though.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think.
do a few
Like
reactions too.
reactions. Yeah.
Something different to the norm of the
Just the
podcast.
podcast, yeah. And it's
Um,
gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be shorter, obviously.
yeah, exactly.
So
And you'll get to
maybe
see
more
our
people will be able to
reactions
like
too.
actually be able to watch the whole thing all at once rather than
Yeah, yeah,
like an hour
exactly.
podcast,
Yeah, we'll keep those short.
somewhat.
It'll be like a 30 minute. It'll go from like 10 minutes to 30 minutes, and we're like, what the
Oh
what?
man,
Oh man. Have you seen Suicide Squad yet?
I have. I saw that 2 nights ago.
Yeah, that movie is awesome.
It is.
I think they did a really good job.
It's definitely better than the first one.
So what I did like about it was it's not a reboot.
No, it's not.
It's like a continuation from the first one, but it's not a part two.
No, it like has its own.
It's
thing,
like it's
kind
like
of.
so they did the mission in the first movie, and then they let them like do whatever the heck they want to do, right? And then this movie was just like a new mission.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, which is kind of funny actually. So I went into the movie, like watching it, going into the movie,
Yeah.
and
Did you go to the theater?
no, I watched it on
HBO
HBO.
Max?
Yeah. But like going into watching it, I like started watching it and I was like, oh, this is gonna be an interesting movie. And then like they get to the scene. Sorry, spoilers by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
if
this
you
is gonna
haven't
be hardcore spoiler
Yeah.
because we're gonna just talk about it.
So just skip if you don't want to listen to spoilers.
Probably for the skip just the whole ending because we're gonna just spoil movies.
Pretty much. Harry Potter. Almost
Potter,
everybody's
yeah.
already seen
Yeah.
it. So, but Suicide Squad. So they like get to the part where they go onto the beach, and
Oh
like
my god.
and like I think is it Pete Davidson or somebody's head like explodes, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
well, it's Pete Davidson because he goes in the middle of the beach and
yeah, and they just start
he's
shooting
like,
him.
"Hey guys, it's me," and then they just shoot him and then they like blow his head up.
Yeah, and like his face comes off, and I was like, I did not know this movie was gonna be super gory. And then like it starts showing like the boomerang cut the dude's head in half
Yeah.
and like all that, and I was like, wow.
So when we started watching it, we had an underage young
Viewer.
lady sitting with us, and immediately we were like, "Close the eyes, close your eyes." So I
Yeah,
think that was pretty
I
funny.
was not expecting it, and I was like, wow, that
Yeah.
came out of literally nowhere.
It's funny how the movie starts and you see this character. I think this Michael Rooker's character is Savant, right? And he's sitting with a ball and he's like throwing it against the wall,
And then
and
the bird
the bird
lands,
lands. He
he
kills the bird,
kills it,
and you're like, "Oh wow, this guy's gonna be awesome." And then 2 seconds into him getting off the plane, he's like, "Ah!"
and he's trying to swim away, and then they blow his head off.
Yeah, and you're like, "Holy crap, that's crazy."
You know, did you notice Easter egg? Not really, but so when his head explodes, there's a bird that lands on him.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
it
same
starts
bird.
eating. It's the same bird that. Oh,
Well,
it's the
it's the
same
same
kind of bird,
kind of bird.
and it's eating like his brain. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
One
that
thing
was
I
kind of
really
funny.
really liked about this movie was the title cards. Every time it moved on to a
Yeah,
different scene and it would show like the title card, it was like part of the scene.
which is cool. Like it you didn't really feel like it was like a transition, honestly. Like
Exactly,
it
exactly.
made it seemed like when it first happened with like the fire and the smoke or
Well, no, it
some
happened. It happened in the beginning too. Like when it does the this is a DC film or something like that,
yeah.
and it was the blood in the water. It does that.
Yeah, like I saw when you see it, you're like,
You're like,
"Oh,
huh? And then you're like, oh, that's
that's weird.
cool.
That's an Easter egg." And then it's like an actual transition. You're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, so I think that was pretty cool how they did the transitions.
Also, I
Um,
kind of wish watching this one, I kind of wish James Gunn would have done the first one because I feel like he would have killed the first one.
Dude, imagine if Disney allowed Guardians of the Galaxy to be a rated R movie. Oh, you've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
I have not. I haven't seen
Oh
any of them.
man,
I haven't seen Guardians.
we're gonna have to sit you down and we're gonna have
I
to
haven't
watch them.
seen Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ant-Man.
Man and the Wasp, that's okay.
Ant-Man I haven't
Guardians
seen.
of the Galaxy is really really good. If you liked this movie and this movie was rated R,
Guardians
it's
of the
just like a
Galaxy.
PG-13 version of Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like, um, John Cena,
I think he
I
was
he killed it. He killed it.
comparing him to Fast and
So
Furious
you see,
John
like
Cena,
in
like
our
it's a
last,
completely different
I
character.
think I think in episode 2,
I
what
think
was it
so.
when we were
Yeah,
talking
because
about
we were talking about like
movies?
upcoming movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, episode 3. It was the last episode.
It's
One
sorry,
of
it's
the
been so
episodes,
long.
yes.
It's been like
So in one of our
yeah,
previous episodes, we are talking about John Cena. And we are joking like, "Oh, you can't see him,"
yeah.
and how he was like not that good and
Yeah,
fast.
he was a terrible actor in Fast and Furious.
And
This
in this
movie
movie, he
100% made
killed
up
it.
for it.
It made so. What I really liked about him in this movie was he made me actually hate the character. I'm not sure if you felt the
Yes.
same, but I was really like, why are you doing this? Like I really hated the character.
So
He played the heel,
he did,
and
and he
he's
played it
never yeah,
perfectly.
and he's never the heel. Like now I'm like
Like
WWE should let him be a
when he
heel.
goes, well, even then, like even in WWE, like they made him a heel, not even trying to make him a heel. They made him a heel,
That's-
and he was a garbage heel.
yeah, I mean
Like he just beat up everybody, and he was terrible. He had terrible promos, everything.
that's what
But
happened.
in this
In this
movie,
movie, he's
like
so bad, dude.
I feel like knowing that how James Gunn is like such a good director, I feel like he was like, "This is your
This is
script.
how you do it.
I
Yeah.
want you to do this, but I also want you to do it your way."
Like it brought out like the best actor John Cena.
Yeah, because I feel like even though he was acting, like I felt like it's what John Cena actually is being
Is
like a
that
comedic.
military comedic character? Yeah.
Yeah, whereas like
The one part that had me laughing with John Cena is so when they're in the village and they're going back and forth killing people, and then John Cena has like a tomahawk in his hand and he's walking down the like he's just walking with the tomahawk and he's
yeah,
like like you're not gonna see this in the or you're not gonna see this when you're listening, but he like hatchets the person in the back like
Yeah, like 100
like a
times,
hundred
and then
times
he
and he
hits him in
just
the
drops
head.
it. Yeah, I thought, dude, I was laughing that whole part, and it's crazy because like people are dying, you're laughing, but it's just the way they filmed it.
Yeah,
It was very comedic.
I like how like a lot of the movie was like things were going on that were supposed to be like, oh, they're killing a bunch of bad guys, and oh, they're doing this and doing that, and then they have some way to like throw some comedy in there.
Yeah,
So like when after they kill all those people and they like go to the tent and they open it and the colonel's sitting there with like his shirt off,
yeah, and he's like, "What are you guys doing
and
here?"
then
Like,
they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just the rebellion," and they turn around and it's like all the dead
yeah,
bodies,
yeah,
and they're
no.
like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay."
I thought that was funny. I do want to see what they're gonna do with John Cena's character.
Yeah.
Because did you watch after the credits?
So when I watched the movie, I did not
Oh
because
man.
I was watching it with family,
Okay.
and they were like, "Oh, the movie's over," and they shut it off.
So
And
there's
then
two
I
there's
went
two credit
to
scenes.
I went to work the next day, and somebody had told me,
They're like, "Oh,
uh,
did you see the
"Oh,
credit
did you
scene?"
see after the
Oh
credits?" And I was
man.
like, "Huh?" And
So
then
there's
I
there's
pulled it up and
two.
watched
Yeah.
it.
There's the one with the weasel gets
I
up
saw
and
that
he's just
one.
like and he runs down the
Yeah,
thing. And then the second one is John Cena's
yeah.
character and they're like basically setting up
What
for
are we gonna
the
do with them, kind of
yeah, they're
thing?
setting up for his TV show that he's gonna
Yeah,
have on HBO Max.
which is
So
awesome.
I really want to see what they're gonna do with the character because now you kind of got to see like what that character could be, and
Well, I
he's already
think
crazy.
really that character originally when we like saw like the reveal of it being like, oh, it's John Cena, is
And it
this
was a
guy? We
joke,
were
like it was a
like,
joke, yeah.
are you serious? Like, why
It
why
was a
is
joke.
he
Like
playing?
he's the only one wearing like a comic book looking outfit too.
Yeah,
Well, and the polka dot guy too, but
and we're like, we looked when we saw it, we were like, really? Like, why?
yeah,
Why is he going to be in this movie at all?
yeah.
And then like once they started having trailers and stuff, you could tell like he fits that
He
character
fits. Yeah,
perfectly.
he fit the character really good. Yeah.
Speaking of characters fitting perfectly, is it this guy? Yeah, it's David Dastmalchian. I
Oh, the polka
probably
dot guy.
butchered that. I felt like he was
He
perfect
was
for his
yeah, he
role.
was perfect. I like in the whole movie he's so like depressing, and
He's
then
depressing and dark.
yeah, and
It's
like
hilarious.
when Idris Elba's character is talking to him, and then he's like,
He's like, I
"We're
hope
gonna
you know.
die,"
And
or "I
he's
hope we
like,
die," or something like that. And he's like, "Oh man, we're screwed pretty much," and
he's
at
like,
the end he's happy.
yeah, he's like, I'm a superhero, and then
Yeah,
he
and he
dies.
dies. But it's funny because it's what he
It's
like
what he
worked
wanted. Yeah,
into, you know,
it
like he
was.
wanted to die.
It's like you were saying, yeah. It's like Idris Elba was, or they were talking about like, what are we doing on this mission? And he's like, oh, like we're supposed to die, and then the polka dot guy goes, I hope so,
Yeah, so
and they
the whole
all look
movie,
at him and they're like, what?
he's like wanting to die, and then when he
Yeah,
dies, he's like happy, and it's funny because it makes you sad that he died,
yeah.
but then you're
When
like,
he's like, I'm a
okay, yeah,
superhero, and then he dies.
by his mom too,
Yeah,
like because
I
that's who he
found that
sees.
hilarious
He sees
too.
his mom throughout the whole movie. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was. I felt like a lot of like the things that they snuck in there like worked really well for
Yeah,
it.
no, it was the movie, dude. Like the writing was awesome too.
It got one of the highest ratings on Rotten Tomatoes I've ever seen. It got a 96 out of 100.
Going back to Pete Davidson, I honestly thought he was going to be in the movie a little longer.
I honestly thought he was going to be in the whole movie. He
And then
died within
he
the
died
first
like,
5 minutes,
yeah,
and I
like
was
two
like,
seconds into the movie. I was like, wait, what? I did laugh a lot when he was like when they said he's sitting next to a werewolf and he's like, get me away from this werewolf, and he's like screaming.
and they're like, no, he's a weasel. He's good. And they're
Yeah,
like, not really. He killed like 27 children,
yeah,
but whatever.
that was funny.
Um,
Um,
I will say, in my opinion, my favorite character of the whole movie was King Shark and Sylvester. I didn't know it was Sylvester
oh yeah,
Stallone until after the movie.
yeah.
It was he
So
was amazing.
funny fact. So the guy who was on the computer, like the bigger dude with the beard, that he was constantly on the computer,
Yeah,
with Amanda Waller, he actually did the mocap for
King
King
Shark.
Shark.
Really?
Yeah, and then Sylvester Stallone did the voice.
I felt like King Shark was the comedic relief that was needed in that movie. Just
Yes.
like the random him and John Cena, I should say,
Now
were
I
like
will say,
random comedic relief.
I will say, I did like King Shark, and I didn't like King Shark only because King Shark in the comic books is he's a he's bad.
Yeah.
He's a
Whereas
villain, you know.
yeah, in
Whereas
this
this one
movie
he was
he's
kind of like a kid, so it kind of threw me off. But the character I liked what how they used him.
I
I think it
enjoyed it,
worked with
yeah.
the movie. One character that I think worked with this movie, and I was kind of skeptical because of the previous two movies she was in as the character was Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Um, she did all right in the first Suicide Squad. She wasn't bad. Um, she fit the character. Birds of Prey, I feel like she did way better.
I didn't watch Birds of Prey, so
So yeah, I feel
I
like
don't
that's
know.
it's such an underrated movie. Like Birds of Prey, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't go with the Birds of Prey story because Birds of Prey are like Batgirl, which is Oracle, and um, what else? It's a bunch of women
Yeah.
superheroes, like, but they're all based in the Batman universe. So like, it wasn't that much. They had like Huntress. Huntress was in the movie,
Yeah.
and I think that was the only bird of prey in the movie. Was
That was
Huntress?
like
Yeah,
other
that
than
was
Harley Quinn.
no Harley
No.
Quinn's not even a bird of prey.
Oh, I didn't know.
So like it kind of followed its own story, but it was good. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you, it was probably 10 times better than the original Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
And this one, it's an actual movie. Like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it was cut into pieces. Whereas the first Suicide Squad movie
Was
felt like
cut
it was
into
kind of cut
pieces.
into pieces.
Well, I would I was talking earlier about it. I feel like no matter how good of an actress Margot Robbie is, like these movies, unfortunately, I don't think that if it was just her, I don't think these movies would be good as just her. I feel like
Yeah.
the very first one, Will Smith, I feel like he carried the movie, and then this
Yes.
one, Idris Elba carried the movie.
I agree. I agree. I feel like she's a good as the
She's a
character.
good
She's
side
a good
character.
side character as the character.
Yeah,
I feel like if they put her in her own movie, not as a superhero type thing, I think she would do fine.
yeah,
You
as
know,
like a
but like
origin
it's not
story
it's
or
not to
something.
knock on what kind of actress she is because she's a really good actress. But I do agree with you. I feel like
Just like the style,
Will Smith carried the first movie hardcore,
without a doubt.
like
Yeah,
hardcore carried the first
he
movie.
provided like everything for the
And
movie, pretty
exactly, and
much.
then in this one, Idris Elba did too. He kind of carried this movie. Not saying that none of the other people carried the movie because I feel like the rat person, the chick with the rats, I feel like she did an awesome job
She did
too.
an awesome job.
But
Yeah,
half of the movie, she's like lazy. She's sleeping
then she's like barely in the movie. She's only in the movie for like a solid 10 minutes, like of her on like
on like the actual powers. Yeah,
yeah,
like doing
like
her actual.
using
Yeah.
her actual
So
powers.
another kind of fun fact too. So Idris Elba's character, and so Bloodsport is Idris Elba's character,
Yeah,
and then Will Smith's character is Deadshot.
I was gonna say their characters look very similar.
So a funny fact, they're kind of almost like the same character. And then you think about it, and you think about like the story aspect of the characters. So in Will Smith's, he's doing it for his daughter,
And so is Bloodsport.
and Bloodsport is
Now that
doing
I'm
it for his
thinking about
daughter.
it, if you actually look at it, Will Smith he's Deadshot. His daughter's what, like she's in, I think, like kindergarten or first grade in the movie.
Yeah, she's like a kid. Yeah.
Whereas he is Idris Elba is older. He's called Bloodsport, and his daughter's like 16, 17.
So
So he technically they could be the
I
same
think
character.
well, I think because Idris Elba when he first came into the movie, he was supposed to be a different character. So
Yeah,
I think that he was supposed to be taking over for Will Smith
and be Deadshot.
and be Deadshot. But instead of doing that, they just made him a new character.
But I feel like maybe
Now I'll
in
be
that realm, maybe he is technically
like
Deadshot.
Deadshot.
He just
They
changed
just
his name and
no, because
all that.
his the character's a different character. They're two different
Oh,
characters
okay.
in the comic books. But I feel like when they were originally filming,
He was
he was
supposed to be
supposed to
like an
be,
older Deadshot
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So, but they changed it like midway through, and we're like, oh, let's change the name of the character
But like
because he
his
does like
helmet
the
and
same.
everything looks the
Yeah,
same.
like he does like the same things. Like
He's also a marksman and all
the
that
one thing
stuff.
I did like, and I don't know if you noticed, is at the end when they're fighting Starro, and he's shooting at Starro, or he's shooting the people, he's pulling apart his armor, and
Yeah, and
his
then he
armor's
turns it into
turning into
guns.
weapons.
I love that.
That was so cool. I didn't even think about that.
I've
Yeah,
never seen that in like any superhero. Like that
yeah,
was very clever.
yeah,
Same with like the polka dot man. Like I know he's already like an established character as far as comic books go, but I feel like the way that they showed
they
how his
showed his
powers
powers.
work and all
Yeah,
that is like insane to
and it
think
shows.
about.
It's funny how he has to discharge his powers.
Yeah, because it'll kill him.
Yeah, um, I really liked how they did Starro in the movie too. So,
Yeah, I don't watching the trailer compared to watching the movie,
yeah.
the trailer had like tentacles and there was no tentacles in the
So when
movie.
he was locked up, you saw like the little tentacles, but when he's outside,
He's like a just
yeah,
a
he's just a big
starfish.
starfish, and
He's Patrick.
I feel like I feel like they did awesome with that character too because it it showed exactly what that character is.
It's a
Like there's
starfish.
a whole comic book on that character, and he takes over the Justice League.
Are you
Yeah,
serious? They're
so
letting a starfish
so I think
run
that
the
was pretty cool.
Justice
Well,
League.
he makes people zombies.
True.
The whole time I was watching the movie too, and he's taking over people. I was the way they get up in like the animated shows and stuff. They
Yeah.
get up like zombies. Like they get up like like
Yeah.
that. And I was hoping that they
And
would
then
do
they
that in the
speak for
movie.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do speak for him. That was another thing when he dies. And he's like, I just wanted to stay in the stars or look at the stars. I was like,
All the
oh,
people
and other
start
people start
screaming.
screaming. Yeah, that looked funny.
Yeah, it was cool though.
A recent movie that just came out too was Jungle Cruise.
It came out a few days,
Yeah, a
like
few
2 days ago.
Yeah, so I liked it.
I honestly, I went into it with like super low expectations.
So me too, because we talked about this in another podcast too.
Last
The Rock.
podcast, yeah.
So you
Not
see The
even
Rock as
that.
The Rock, right? Honestly, and it goes back to John Cena. I think The Rock did awesome.
He did. I feel like
I
he
didn't.
didn't incorporate the rock aspect. He incorporated. I would the
He
way I
didn't.
would
He
explain
didn't.
it. I
He
would
didn't. He
explain
didn't,
it.
and it didn't. It didn't stand out as much.
I was gonna say like he comparing like the rock character.
Yeah.
I feel like he went more Dwayne Johnson on it. Like he
Yeah.
went more himself rather than
Yes.
being a character,
So yeah, and I agree with you on
which
that.
makes him like he's a very personable person. Like if you see videos of him online and stuff, like
Yeah.
he's a super approachable person and he's super cool.
Yeah, no, I think I like I said, I think he did really good on the
He was
movie.
like genuine.
Yeah, he was a very genuine character, and I mean, obviously he's The Rock, and you're gonna see him as The Rock, but he didn't give off that vibe throughout the whole movie. Like there
No.
wasn't one scene in the movie where I was like, oh, he's being The Rock, and
No.
compared
The
to
only
like
the only scene
Fast and the Furious, for example,
yeah, he's like
I'm like, oh, he's The Rock, he's being The Rock.
yeah. Well, the only scene I would say he was like The Rock was when he like I think he like kicked a door down or something and it like shattered. That's like the only scene you're like, all right. I mean, he
So
is
when he does a suplex on the Jaguar.
or that too. Yeah, that works.
Emily Blunt did awesome too.
Yeah.
So,
I honestly I went into that like I said on the last podcast, like
yeah.
I didn't have high expectations for that movie and because of what the ride is, like the ride is literally just
Don't say garbage. It's garbage.
I won't say it's garbage. I don't like the ride personally, but it's literally just a slow cruise through like Amazon and stuff. Whereas this movie is
yeah.
like, it's through the Amazon, but it's like
Stuff's
all
going on.
completely
Yeah,
different
stuff's
story
going
than
on.
I was expecting.
I do love the Easter eggs. I think every Easter egg they had like the quirky jokes in the beginning
Yeah,
because when you ride the ride they tell you these
that's
dumb
all they
jokes.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had like all the dumb jokes. The one thing I didn't like about that scene is when you ride the ride, they say it like with the most energy, and
And
he
he's
didn't.
just like
He's
ringing
just
them
saying,
off.
yeah, he's just
kind of
saying
thing.
them, and I feel like that was almost fan service just to say them, compared to, I feel like if he put the energy behind it and
Yeah.
said it, it would have been like even funnier.
I think the only one he really put like full energy behind was when he was telling them to get off the boat.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that one seemed like he was actually trying.
And then the villain was kind of cool. The villain was played by
Jesse
Jesse
Plemons.
Plemons.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
I haven't seen him in a movie. Genuinely, I haven't seen him in a movie since Like Mike. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie,
Like,
but
no.
he's in that movie he's a kid. And
Oh
like
wow, so
I
he's all
saw
grown
him
up.
in I saw him in this movie and I was like, is that who I think it is? And I looked it
Yeah.
up and it was.
Wow, so he's like all grown up.
Yeah, it
That's
was
crazy.
weird. It was like a weird
He
nostalgia
he did
kind
good.
of thing.
I get the whole German thing. It
I was
was
gonna
around that
say
time.
I mean I understand it, but like
It was just
I didn't understand why they had to incorporate it.
yeah, me too. Like I feel like the villains could have been the Spanish guys, and they could have
Yeah,
taken out the German guy and then just did the Spanish guys.
and that would have made more
And that
sense.
would have made more
It would have been
sense.
like a Pirates of
Yeah.
the Caribbean type thing then.
So that was another thing. The movie itself, I was like, oh, this movie is really good. And then that happened when he brings like the land guys back to life, like the
Yeah,
Spanish people back to life. I was like, oh, this looks like
the
they were supposed to be.
Conquistadors.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
this looks like they were supposed to be villains in the
Pirates
next
of the
Pirates of the
Caribbean.
Caribbean
Yeah,
movie, and they just didn't put them in the movie.
they just put them in this movie. They're like, yeah, it's the same concept, just a
Yeah,
boat
either
and
that or they should have not done those characters, and they should have just kept
the German thing.
Jesse's
Yeah,
villain, just the whole
yeah,
movie. Because I like when he's in the submarine and he pulls out the Gatling gun and he's just like
yeah.
shooting everywhere. That was cool. Another character I really liked was the brother. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
like
don't know.
that.
I thought he was.
You have to think of the times too. So I
He
like
just
that he tells the Rock like how he basically tells the Rock he likes men without saying it, and
and then he's also like super preppy, high
yeah, like
class.
yeah,
Whereas Emily Blunt is
like
she's like
she's
the
like
little
the gutter
stepsister. She's like
girl.
the little sister
Oh
that
yeah,
like
that's
doesn't
true.
care to be rich and all
But I
that.
like how they brought that into the movie without bringing it into the movie, and it was like there, you know,
Yeah,
like and the dude played the movie like he played the character really really good, like from beginning to end. He was like the heroic brother, but he was also the wimp,
yeah,
you
pretty
know,
much.
and
Yeah,
she was like the little like you said the little sister, but she was like
she was like
the
supposedly
hero
the
type
hero.
person,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And then
I
Paul
always
Giamatti,
like. Yeah,
Paul
I was gonna
Giamatti.
say. I like how they snuck Paul Giamatti in
As
there somewhere.
yeah, and he played like almost the same character as he played in Spider-Man, the Rhino.
Yeah,
He had
I
like that like
mean,
Russian
he
accent,
plays like
sort
that
of.
same character in every movie he's
Yeah,
in,
like
pretty
that.
much.
The person that you owe me money, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's funny because there's another movie that we're gonna talk about in a second. That Paul Giamatti's in as well. Um, but he always plays like that type of
Yeah,
character, like
he's
that. Well, somewhat, but he always plays like that gangster.
yeah, like not necessarily a gangster, the wannabe gangster
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. So I
Um,
liked him in I liked him in his small parts though, because
yeah,
he was just funny. I felt like they tried to have too many villains though.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, right. Too many villains and
I
not
will
enough
say my
heroes.
only caveat to the movie, and I honestly I think it's a really good movie. My only caveat is for it being a Disney movie,
Yeah.
the CGI was not that
Oh, it
good.
was horrible.
Like there would be scenes where they're like going through the water and you can like see like the water tearing
Yeah.
with how
So
bad the CGI
so
was.
that's another thing. So like, it reminded me of, and we're gonna go back. It reminded me of how the CGI was for Scorpion King.
Yeah, it was
It
bad.
was horrible,
It
dude.
was
Like they
terrible.
and they I think they might have rushed the movie a little bit.
The Jungle
But
Cruise. You
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
but all in all, it was a fun
It
movie.
was.
It was a fun movie. Like we gave it a,
It was.
we rate our movies now when we watch them, and I think we gave it like
I'd give it
a
like a.
4 out of 5.
Oh, I was gonna say like I would give it like an 8 out of 10.
Okay, it's the same
Yeah,
concept.
4 out of 5. Same difference. But I think that's really my only caveat with it was the CGI was
Oh, I
kind of
did want
garbage.
to mention something else too. So they have Sam in the movie. Um,
Sam.
yeah, it's Trader. is it Trader Sam? Trader Sam, I think, or something like that.
Maybe.
So I don't know. Remember, it's the
Trader
lady, the
Joe's?
lady, Trader Joe's, the Trader Joe's.
The the grocery
Um,
store?
but they have the he's in the ride at the end of the ride, and he's trading the small heads and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they had him in a movie, but as a woman, and I thought that was pretty cool
Oh,
too.
the Easter egg? Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was
I
pretty
didn't
cool.
see that.
All right, we're going to Harry Potter. I've watched Harry Potter from beginning to end, like maybe like
Within the past like 3 weeks,
yeah, within
right?
the past like 3 or 4 weeks, and you're starting to watch them
I
actually.
am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started a few days ago. I've watched the first and second one. I'm not watching them like every night like you were.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
watching them like when I have time kind of thing. But
Gotta
I've
get time every night, man.
not necessarily. I usually go to sleep.
I
Um
like sleep too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um but I watched the first and second one and I for me not watching them like in order or anything like that. Like I would watch them like as they came out when I was younger. Um, actually like watching them going from movie to movie, it is way better.
Yeah.
Like I honestly I didn't enjoy them originally and now I'm like actually enjoying them, like keeping with the story
I
and
think it's
everything.
also like watching it how you're watching it, like actually watching them. You don't lose context. You don't lose context. You know.
No, not
Like
at all.
you go exactly like you'll go from one to two, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. I get in the books. In the books, they're probably gonna uh clean up the gaps between one and two, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like a year, not a year. There's a few months of a gap between one
Yeah,
and two, the
where you're
movies.
not gonna see, but I feel like the movies did pretty good with keeping it clean enough, I
Yeah,
guess.
as clean as they could get
Yeah,
it, without having like a
but
whole movie in between. Kind
the
of.
first movies, I like the first movie. It's a classic.
I'm
Uh,
not gonna decide till I watch them all. What
you're
my
gonna.
favorite
Oh
movie
no,
is.
I have my favorite. I think my favorite is the last one.
I've heard
The
multiple people say either the second to last one, the last one, or the fifth one, whatever the fifth one is.
I didn't really like the fifth one too much.
Isn't that what the Half Blood Prince or something? Or is that
Yeah.
six? I don't
No,
know.
you have the Half Blood Prince and then the Deathly Hollow one and two.
So that's six. So
Yeah. Oh
five
no, I
is.
did like five. Five was a good one. Yeah.
I heard
I was thinking
five's
about four.
a good
Four,
one.
that's the Order of the Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, because it
I didn't
goes
like that one.
Sorcerer's Stone. What's the second one? I literally just watched the second one. How did I already forget it?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
can't
remember.
remember. I can't remember it either. I just watched it. Then it's not a good one.
Yeah, it was
The
alright.
second one was alright, yeah. I feel like the first one's good though.
The first one,
I like the first
first
one.
movie of like everything is almost good
Yeah,
because
because it's like
almost has to be
it's an
good,
introduction to the characters, you know. So like,
and to the world of what it is, the
yeah,
wizarding
yeah,
world.
yeah. And I mean, it's funny because if you watch the first one, all the way to the last one, you'll see like so you got what Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint,
Which is
and
Ron, and then you got Tom Felton, which is Draco.
yeah, and so they're all fresh actors in the first movie.
Yeah, and
So they're
you're gonna
horrible.
see them.
They're horrible actors. And then as you start watching the movies and the movies go on, you see like they get better at the character at playing their character. I mean, at
I
the end of the
was
day, I would say that that character became who they were as people at that time.
yeah,
So they like play their characters really good
I was
by the
gonna
time you hit the end
say,
of the movies.
I think I'm really gonna enjoy it because like you're going from like them being kids to them being adults, and it's like you can actually see the time go
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
and it's gonna be like you're actually watching them grow up. Whether it's like them as a person or them as the character, it's
Yeah.
still it's gonna be a cool thing to see that
So another thing I really
happen.
like about all of the Harry Potter movies, which is it's kind of funny though, and this goes into what we were talking about, like Snape, like Rickman. Um, so the dark arts teacher in every movie is something is going on with the dark arts teacher,
Yeah,
and that goes from all the way from the beginning to the end. So the first movie is the dude with the two heads,
yeah, I
and
forget
he's the
his
dark
name.
arts
Yeah,
teacher. In the second movie, who's the dark arts teacher in the second movie? I can't
it
remember.
was it was the freaking dude with the autographs.
Oh
and he's
yeah,
like famous
and
or
he's like
whatever, and
famous. Yeah,
he ends up being the evil one.
yeah. So every movie has a different dark
Dark
arts
arts
teacher,
teacher,
but
yeah.
each dark arts teacher is a bad person or a bad guy.
And I love that, Snape is always trying to get into that
Into it, yeah,
friggin' role, and he
and
still can't get
he
into it.
doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he does. He gets into it until like the end, and then spoiler,
Yeah, just don't spoil it.
he ends up moving on, right?
Um,
And then the dude who plays
Dumbledore in the first
Dumbledore in the
two.
first two, yeah. So I think he did an awesome job, like setting up that character.
He did. Like you honestly, you probably couldn't have
And
gotten any
and
better
you haven't seen it yet, but going into the next, like the third
in the
movie,
third one. It's a different character, a
it's a
different
different
guy.
guy, but he keeps that. He keeps the character like going, like just as good as the dude in
It's
the
the
beginning.
original, yeah.
So no, that dude, I can't remember the actor though
For the new
from the
ones,
third one, the after the third one, yeah, because Art's he's on the third one doing the third one
yeah.
on. I can't remember the actor that
I
does
don't
it
know,
though.
but the other
We'll have
guy's
to look it
Richard
up.
Harris.
Yeah,
He died right after the second one,
yeah.
and
Well,
then they had to switch it.
that's like the guy Alan Rickman, the guy who plays Snape. He died after he filmed the last one.
Yeah, that's
So
insane.
yeah, that's crazy.
You know
Like
who
how
else died after they filmed the movie was Paul Walker.
oh, why are we laughing?
I don't know. I'm not laughing. You're
He's
laughing.
Paul Walker. Yeah, I know. Paul Walker didn't die though. He
Mhm.
was in Fast and Furious 9, or was he?
I mean, his car was. Whether he
Yes,
was
but
or
he was
not is a
driving it.
different story.
It's a conspiracy.
That would have been crazy, though.
That would be
The
crazy.
the end of the movie,
He
it's
gets
actually him. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm not dead.
oh, he just gets out the car and he's like, peace sign to the screen. What?
Everyone's mind is blown.
Blown for real.
And then it goes back to Dom, and he's like, family.
Family, family. And
Um,
he's like family. Oh, that's just gonna be the constant joke.
it
Again, he
is.
doesn't say it that much in the movies, believe it or not.
Just wait.
I just saw a movie recently. Actually, from the time we're filming this, I saw this yesterday. Um, or recording this. It's called Gunpowder Milkshake. It's on Netflix. It's like a female version of John Wick.
I'm gonna blow your mind real quick. I've never seen John Wick.
Oh no.
I've never seen Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, or John Wick.
All right, so on one of our next podcasts, we're gonna go ahead and talk about that after you watch all those movies because you need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, especially that movie came out like years ago.
I need to find a movie that you haven't watched, so then you can watch it, and I'll watch those, and
All
then
right,
we can talk about
then we'll do
movies
that. Yeah,
that
let's
we
do
haven't
that.
watched.
So we'll start. Yeah, that'd be good. Movies we haven't watched, but Gunpowder Milkshake. That movie was awesome. It has Karen Gillan in it. That's the lady who plays
You said
Nebula
Nebula, right? Yeah.
from Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers movies. Dude, she killed it. She did so good. It has a bunch of other people in it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your list right here. The
Yeah,
only one I'm seeing that I can recognize is
Paul
Paul
Giamatti.
Giamatti.
He actually, it's funny because he plays like
He's like, where's your money?
He plays an HR representative for this like hitman company.
Nice.
Yeah, and the main character, she works for this hitman company.
So like
So
she calls him.
pretty much, but they end up screwing her over. They give her a job, and she kills a like spoiler, sorry. She kills like the son of a mobster,
Nice.
and the company sent her to do it. And then because the mobster is now like, why'd you send someone to kill my daughter or my son? They throw her under the bus. They throw the main character under the bus. It's a cool
It's a
movie. They did.
random movie, huh?
It is random. It's decently random, but
I
the
love that
story's
there's
there.
a company. I love that concept. There's a company of hitmen.
Yeah.
So after they kill them, they just leave a business card.
They're like, here's my business card. Thank you for
Give me
coming.
a call.
Thank you for dying. But Angela Bassett's in the movie too, and it was funny
know who
because she
that
did a
is.
really good job. Man, if I could tell you what movie she was in, right now I wouldn't be able to, but I know her from her face and stuff, and her name obviously. But she did a really good job. The only thing that had me like dying laughing is she looks like she got a lot of work done on her face. So like plastic surgery and stuff.
Nice. That
And
could have just
it
been the movie, though.
possibly, but it just didn't look good. Like
No.
their makeup artist was not good then. um,
They're
but
like,
the
we
CG,
told you not to get plastic surgery before the
yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's funny. The CG was pretty good. Like it could have been better, but it's a Netflix movie, so I'm not expecting like
Yeah,
crazy
it's not
stuff.
like
Because I've seen Netflix movies that are like crazy good with CG, and I've seen movies that are like meh. Like if you watch any of the anime crossover movies,
yeah.
like Bleach or Full Metal Alchemist from the Netflix movies, the CG's kind of meh, but the stories are good. They're based off of the anime, so.
Hmm.
Um, there's a character in the movie, by the way, in the Gunpowder Milkshake. It's a little girl. Her dad dies, and throughout the whole movie, she follows the main character. That girl, the little girl, did such a good job in the movie, like acting. It was awesome.
That's good. There's not very many kid actors that are very
Yeah,
good
yeah,
because I mean they are kids,
yeah,
so
yeah. And then they grow, and then they become drug addicts and stuff. And
yeah.
that's kind of sad.
What's
It's
that dude's name?
the child movie stuff.
Yeah, it's in the pamphlet.
Yeah. You want to be a child star, you're gonna grow up to be a failure. That's horrible.
What's the who am I thinking of? Right when you said no, it's not. I was gonna say
It's in the tip
somebody
of your
else.
tongue.
No,
What is it?
I was what's his name? McCulkey?
Oh, Molly McCulkin. Molly.
Molly?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin. That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yeah,
him.
I mean,
He's a child star that went
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. He was. He was home alone though.
He
That's
was.
why
Yeah.
they left
So
him home alone
he
for a
got
year,
he got into the something that he
twice.
shouldn't have.
Yeah, sucks.
So we wanted to actually thank everybody for supporting what we're trying to do as
Yeah,
far as like doing the podcast, and we know I'm sure everybody's noticing we are new to this, so
definitely, definitely.
we have a lot we're figuring out, and I'm sure you'll probably notice over the span of even just these 4 episodes, like there's a lot that we have learned, and we're gonna continually adapt, and maybe we'll get more comfortable with it. So
Yeah, I think over time we'll get more comfortable. It's just cool to do something like this and to even have people watch us on YouTube or listen while we're doing this. We barely have time in our lives to do stuff like this, and we're making it happen. So it's just something that we want to enjoy while we're doing it. So I think so far we've had a good time doing it. Uh,
that's I think the best part of it is we're not just doing it just forcefully, like we said in the first
yeah,
episode. We're not sitting here like, oh, we don't want to do this. No, we
no,
want to do this,
yeah, we're
and like,
legit, like legitimately enjoying our conversations,
yeah,
and hopefully you guys are enjoying our conversations and what we're talking about. I
yeah,
know the first few episodes were more about us and what we liked, and now we're trying to change up the format and
a
go
little bit, yeah,
into yeah, and go into more of
like a
a
general
smooth,
kind of
yeah,
area.
general talk where
Yeah,
everyone would be able to listen to it.
yeah. We're also we're just we. It's kind of like what Gio had said. It's we barely have time, and we just want to try and do this, like, no matter how much it how much success it gets, or
Yeah,
how much non unsuccess it doesn't, or
yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying. How much
Hello, yo, you're trying to be Tech Nine?
yeah, I guess so. How much success or failure it like
Yeah,
gets. um Honestly, in my opinion, like,
we're just
we
doing it
we
for
can't
fun.
fail,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Whether
exactly.
we get a huge fan base or we don't get any fan
Yeah,
base, like,
two
it's
people
just
listen to this.
it's
That's
a
good
good
enough
time.
for us.
Yeah,
100 people listen to this. That's good enough for us. If
yeah. It's just a good time,
if
honestly.
millions of people listen to this, then we'll have to get a
Mm,
step up,
then we'll have to upgrade a little bit.
upgrade a lot.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
quit our
like
jobs.
do this full time,
Oh no!
streaming it. Oh
Oh,
man.
snap! That'd be crazy.
But yeah, like you had said, with the very minimal time that we have when we do this, like, we want to do this, and it's a good time, and we appreciate that. We know probably everybody listening has just as minimal time as we do, so we
Yeah.
appreciate you taking your time to listen.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Also, if you ever want to follow us on our social media, it's at the Noodle Shop
yeah,
on
on like
IG,
Instagram and stuff.
and also you can follow me at G to the 666, and
You can follow me at TJ
oh
Maverick.
yeah, I forgot the at. You can add the at to the G to the
Yeah.
666.
So,
So yeah.
um, I know at least my posting isn't as much as
Oh
Geo's.
yeah, I do streaming. I don't know how.
I
I haven't
used
streamed
to.
lately.
Yeah,
I
I don't stream
I'm in a
very much
band. I
now.
play music, so and then I post about work a lot.
He's more socially what's
I'm
the
a
word?
social butterfly.
He's more outgoing social media wise, whereas I'm not. So
Yeah, but
one day, one day
give
I'll
us a
get there.
follow and say what's up or like some of our posts. And
Yeah.
also, if you want updates on the episodes that are coming out or when they come out, you can check out our
Our
at the
social
Noodle
media.
Shop.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, because we'll have it posted. Not only that,
Right as it posts.
you can listen to it on any
Spotify,
Spotify or
YouTube.
YouTube. We are eventually going to start a Patreon when we figure that out and do some exclusive stuff on there. But as of right now, we're just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, as much as we can.
All right, so thanks for coming to hang out with us at the Noodle Shop. My name has been Gio,
My name was Tristan.
and yeah, well, we hope to see you on our next episode. And come hang out and follow us on any social media. We're on Spotify and YouTube, and also on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll see
Like,
you guys.
share, and subscribe, please.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, and we'll see you guys next time.